Ta-da!
In an age of destruction, where life is held captive by fire and sword, courage and honor still remain in legendary battles.
Hello fantasy gamers, Matthew here from the dreary but slightly heartwarming Advent season in southern Sweden. Today we are going to play a scenario between the Empire, 800 points of the Empire, and the Dwarves, 800 points of the Dwarves, that we are calling Treachery in the Imperial Guard. Now before we take a look at the board and the armies and the special rules for this scenario, let's of course first take a look at the legend itself.
The hearts and minds of men can be easily won over by the promise of power and treasure. Dwarf General Thane Gromhart has long been waiting to make his move on the capital city of the Empire, and now he has discovered a devious route into the Imperial power structure. A secret message has been sent to the Imperial Guard with the tantalizing proposition to join the Dwarfs in their surprise attack planned for the dusk of the first evening of the new moon. Will the Imperial Guard remain loyal to its leader? Will it waver in its decision, or will it march out in treacherous defiance of its emperor in order to join sides with the unwavering dwarven forces?
For our first army, we have approximately 800 points of the Empire. And for our general here, leading the army of the Empire, we have the General of the Empire, who has full plate armor, great weapon, and shield. Our magic item, Ruby Ring of Ruin, Talisman of Preservation. He is on a warhorse. Everything else now is core troops, and they will be located in the courtyard. Here we have 10 sword masters. Joining them, we have 5 knights of the inner circle. For artillery, we have 20 Empire archers in 4 units of 5. They will be located in the corners of the courtyard. And additional artillery, we have here 16 gunners, and they will be positioned in the courtyard. Finally, here we have our 30 spearmen that will be divided into 3 units of 10 each, and they will be garrisoned, each one of these 3 units, in one of the buildings around the courtyard, getting ready to either come out and fight for the Empire, fight for the Dwarfs, or to remain garrisoned. So once again, 800 points of the Empire. And for the attacking army now, here we have 800 points of the Dwarves. The Dwarves are led here with a Thane who has Gromnel armor, shield, and a great weapon. To support the Thane now, we will have this block of 10 Longbeards, which are actually models for Dwarf Warriors, but we're going to have them stand in for our Longbeards. Full command. For core over here now, we've got a big block of 30 Dwarf Warriors, full command. For some artillery now, we have a unit of 10 Thunderers, full command. And last but not least, we have a block of 12 miners, full command, and they will have the special rule in which they will come onto the board, not in the beginning, but on the second or later turns. So there we have it. Once again, 800 points of the Dwarves. Here is the board today, set up, a standard 4 foot by 6 foot board. As you can see, there are some trees around the edges and a couple hills. In the center of the board now, we have our little village with our courtyard in the middle, and this will be where the Empire will set up and deploy. And one quick note about these 3 houses here. We have a special rule today that we're using called the loyalty test. So at the start of the Empire turn, we will roll a d6 for each of the spearman units that is garrisoned in each of these houses. Remember, it is going to be 3 units of 10 each. And we'll use the following chart to determine what happens. On a 1 or 2, we have Imperial Loyalty. The unit may move out of the building and fight on the side of the Empire for the remainder of the game. On a roll of 3 to 4, we have Wavering. The unit wavers and does not make a decision to fight for either side. The unit must remain garrisoned in the building for the remainder of this turn. And on a roll of 5 to 6, we have Treachery in the Imperial Guard. The unit may move out of the building and fight under the control of the Dwarfs for the remainder of the game. So it is out of these 3 buildings here that we will have our garrison troops move out and fight of one side or the other. According to the scenario rules now, the Empire will deploy first in the courtyard, and we have a pretty good looking deployment here. As you can see, if we look on the edges of the 4 corners, we have our 4 units of 5 archers. In the center here, we have our general who is facing this direction. We have over here our unit of 10 swordmen. Here we have our unit of 12 gunners. Back here are 5 knights of the inner circle. And remember, garrison in each one of these buildings is a unit of 10 spearmen. So there is the Empire setup. Let's check deployment for the dwarves. And here is the dwarf setup, 12 inches from the board edge. We've got our big block of warriors in the middle with our Thane in the center of that. Over here we've got our long beards, and we have got our thunderers right here. Remember that our miners are off the board at this point, and they will be coming in potentially later. You see here we have a shot here, a line that will be taken into the center of the courtyard. So let's go ahead and start off the game. All right, turn 1, we'll go to the dwarves as the attacking team. So dwarf, turn 1. All right, let's begin by rolling for the ancestral grudge. And we get a 4, which is a ranker's resolve. All friendly character models with the ancestral grudge special rule have the hatred special rule against all character models from the opposing army. What this means simply is that the Thane here will have a hatred against the Empire General. Charges to declare, we have none, but we do have some movement here, so let's do some marching. Let's start here by bringing our long beards up 6 inches. Bringing them right there, and in addition, let's march up our warriors 6 inches. We'll bring them right there, and we'll leave our thunders right there because they are move or fire, so we want to get off some shots. All right, let's start out here with our 10 thunders over here. We'll be shooting over onto these 5 archers, and we are at long range, so we'll be hitting on 5s, and there are 2 hits. Not a great roll. Wounding on 3s, and there are 2 wounds. No save for the archer, so we will lose 2 of the archer guys over here. A small unit here, so that will drop us down below our 25% threshold at 40%, so we need to roll a 7 leadership. They pulled it off, they'll stick around. No close combat, so that will bring us to the end of dwarf turn 1. Let's turn over to the Empire turn 1. Alright, let's begin the Empire turn with our loyalty test, the special rule for this scenario. Let's start with this house over here and roll a D6. We got a 3, which means they will waver and stick around inside the building. Let's try this building here. And we roll a 6, which means that they will come out, treachery in the Royal Guard. They will come charging out of here in support of the dwarves. And over here, this last one, we roll a 4, which is also a waiver, so they will wait around. And there's a unit that has come out now, and we put a red die on it to show that they are now fighting for the dwarves. So assuming that this group understands what is going on, we will now treat that as a dwarf unit. Movement phase, charges to declare. The Empire has to now make some important decisions. If we look over here, all of these units are out of the forward arc of the general. He's the only one who would have a possible charge. He can't do it. So let's have, boy, this is tough. What to do here? I thought perhaps about charging here into that group. The general's kind of in the way though. So what we're gonna do instead is we're not gonna make any charges, and we will just do some remaining moves. Let's start out with a reform here on this group. Let's turn them around. Like so, and able to face down the coming charges. And let's reform each of these archer units to face the new dwarf unit here. There are those 2 reforms. And our general, let's have him move here, and we will bring him, shift him over here and move him behind that unit there. And let's reform this unit right here. We will do this and have them turn around like so in order to join the charges as well. Shifting them like so. Let's also reform this unit of archers here, something like that. And then let's wheel slightly this unit to bring them more into a front arc with those attacking dwarf units. On second thought, we just move them backwards now so that they can keep the hard cover. Alright, shooting phase. Let's have these 12 gunners here take a shot off on their own spearmen here. So we'll have 12 shots. So 12 shots here now. We're hitting on 4s. And oh goodness, wow, that was an amazing roll. Hitting on 4s, wounding now on 3s. No save possible because of the strength of the weapon and armor piercing. Wounding on 3s, and wow, so we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 guys will be taken. There's our 1 defiant guy left over. Panic test, double wands, insane courage, no. So he is going to turn around and run a total of 8 inches. Charging through the building, dangerous terrain, no. And there's his final position marked as fleeing. Don't mess with the handgunners. All right, these 3 archers over here shooting. No, let's have them shoot over onto these gunners. Long range, and they did move, so we're hitting on 6s, and there's 3 misses. Moving on now to game turn 2. Let's start with the dwarves, and let's begin by rolling the ambusher rule. On a 1 or 2, the miners are delayed. And no, they get a 3, so they can come on the board. And that is where we will put in our 12 miners now as reinforcements. This technically should be done during the remaining moves phase, so they can't declare charges. They can't march. So we will just leave them there now and move on to declaring charges. Alright, let's begin with a charge here against this unit of archers. And the archers will choose to flee. So here we go. Fleeing a total of 6 inches. And there will be dangerous terrain tests as they pass through the building, so let's roll that off. They are all fine, so 6 inches. And 6 inches brings them right here, dangerously close to their other unit. Rolling to redirect on a leadership of 10, we got it. But in actuality, this charge range is too far out, so we cannot actually do that. It's not a possible charge, so we cannot redirect. Let's roll out our charge and see what happens. We failed charge, go ahead 5 inches. And that is where that failed charge will end up. Remaining moves, let's have this unit here slide up a total of... Now let's march them up. We'll bring them up here even with their other unit there. And finally, this unit is out of range of its shooting, so we will, instead of shooting this turn, we will have them move. So let's have them begin by wheeling first an inch, and then we will move them up 4 inches and wheeling back another inch. Just a note here, I forgot that we do in fact have a veteran, so we will need to roll that out when we do shooting. I forgot that in the last shooting phase. And of course we can't forget our guy fighting for the dwarves here. He is fleeing, so this is compulsory moves. He does not get double 1, so he's going to keep fleeing 9 inches. Will that bring him off the board? Yes, indeed, 9 inches will take him off the board. So that is the end of that spearman unit. No combat for the dwarf, so that brings us to the end of dwarf turn 2. Let's move on to empire turn 2. And roll for our 2 units of spearmen. Starting off in this house, the unit garrison there, 6, they will come on for the dwarves. And finally over here for this house, rolling here, and it is a 4, they will waver and remain. And there we have that position of that unit of spearmen now fighting for the dwarves. Empire charges to declare. Let's start here with a charge from these inner circle knights over onto this block of warriors, and the warriors will hold. That is the only charge we will declare. Let's roll it out here. Swift stride, 3d6. 6 inches plus their normal move. To double check here, yeah, no problem, so they will get in. So this will start, we'll have a slight wheel like so, and this guy will shoot here for this corner, and we'll bring these in as well, which means that we will have 3 of the knights that will need to take a dangerous terrain test to get over to that. Pardon me, 2 of them dangerous terrain, here we go, and they are both striking in this way and then closing the door like so. We'll bring them into base contact with those warriors. There was, however, used to be a wall here that we removed for the sake of ease. So in fact, we would have another one do a dangerous terrain test, but he is fine as well. Compulsory moves, let's roll for these guys here. Fleeing, they need a 7 to stay. 6, they will turn around where they are. And that is how they will look now marked as newly rallied. Alright, remaining moves, let's run over here and start with this unit of archers. Let's have them actually reform to face the oncoming miners. And that is how they will look. And let's reform both of these units here and have them face this new unit here. And there we have the positions after the reform. Next off, let's have this unit do some marching up here, and we will have them wheel like so. And then we will bring our general, and we'll bring him here into position right here so that he will be able to give his leadership now to the units that we'll be fighting. Shooting phase, we've only got this unit who hasn't been reformed, and they will take 5 shots over here onto this unit of spearmen. Long range hard cover, we're hitting on 7s. So there is 1 6, and we need to roll. Hey, we got it. Wounding on a 4, and there's no. All right, let's take this combat here. We have 5 of these knightly order inner circle knights charging in. And they have higher initiative, so they will be 5 of them hitting on 4s, and we've got only 1 hit there. Wounding on 2s because of their charge with the lance, so there's 1 wound, no save possible. Let's remove 1 guy there. The horses now also higher initiative. We've got 5 horses who are hitting on 4s. And there are no hits at all. Wow, terrible rolls. The Thane now here is coming back with 3 attacks, and he will be hitting now on 3s and wounding on 2s with great weapon. So there are 3 wounds, and we have a 5+ save because of the strength of the attack. So 5+ save, no save, and also a 6+ parry. So we have 1 parry. 2 of these guys will be killed by the Thane. And finally, 7 warriors left in base contact. We have 1 of our veterans, so we have an extra attack. So we have 7 attacks total here, and we will be hitting now on 4s and wounding on 2s because of the great weapon. Wounding on 2s. So there are 4 more wounds. We have a possible 5+ save. Excuse me, 4+ save, and so we save 2 there and 2 parries as well. Parries on a 6, no, so 2 more guys will be taken out here. Combat resolution now, we've got a charge by the Empire, and they have 1 kill. But coming back though, we have 1, 2 kills, 3, 4 kills by the Dwarves, and they have a banner, and they have 1, 2, 3 bonus for their ranks. That puts them to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-point victory for the Dwarves. The Empire provides us leadership 9, inspiring presence, so that means we are down to a 3. Can they make it on a 3? No, there is a 5. So they will turn around and flee a total of 7 inches on swift stride. And the Dwarves will choose to pursue, and they will go a total of 5 inches, and that will bring them crashing into the general. So let's begin here by turning this guy around like so and moving him 7 inches out this direction. We'll bring him right here. This unit will have to take a break test. They were fled through using the general's leadership of 9. They are fine. The general will also have to use take a panic test because this unit broke here within 6 inches, so also on a 9. No, that's a 10, so the general is going to flee
General
as well.
turning and
fleeing a total of 11 inches if we take the high 2 of the swift stride. And 11 inches will bring the general just on the other side of this unit, which means we have to test again for this unit on a leadership of 7, and they are fine. And the Dwarfs now making a slight wheel and moving ahead. They're 5 inches. That will bring them right here. And that is where that flee pursuit will end. End of the combat phase, the Empire, and end of Empire turn 2. Let's turn this over here now to game turn 3, Dwarf turn 3. Dwarf charges to declare. Let's start here with this charge, and that will definitely make it in. So slight wheel, and we will turn like this to close the door. Obviously they're holding, so this is how this one will look now. Second of all, we will declare a charge here with these miners onto those archers. Archers will perform a stand and shoot, hitting on 5s. And there is 1 hit. Wounding on a 5, no. So no wound. Finally, we're going to have this unit charge into that unit of gunners right there. They are too close for a stand and shoot. We can't miss here, so let's wheel slightly, and we'll bring them crashing up like this onto the courtyard and into contact like so. There's their final position. Back to this charge, we need to roll a 9 for a successful charge, and it's an 8. Oh, just missed it. So we will move ahead now instead 5 inches. 5 inches will bring us right here. Dwarf shooting phase, let's have this unit here of 10 guys, 11 shots because of the veteran. Shooting over here on this horse, try to pick him off. He's the only target we can get. We'll be going through hard cover, long range. 11 shots, hitting on 6s. So there we have 2 hits. And hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, excuse me. 1 wound with a 4+ save, so no. That guy will be removed. Let's take him out of combat. This unit here, within 6 inches, they will need to take a panic test, and they are fine. This unit as well, within 6 inches, so panic test on a 7, they're also fine. Alright, let's do combat phase here. We've got this block of Dwarves and this block of Empire Swordsmen. Swordsmen now have the higher initiative. They are going to be hitting on 4s. So there are 2 hits, and wounding now on 5s. And there are no wounds. Coming back now, we start with the Thane now. The Thane is in base contact, so he will be attacking with 3, hitting on 3s. Wow, that's pretty poor. Only 1 hit. And wounding now on a 2 because of the great weapon strength. No possible save, so let's remove one of these guys from the back. And now 7 more warriors. 1 is a veteran, so we have 8 attacks now. Coming back, hitting on 4s, so slightly better than the last time. Hitting on 4s, and now because of great weapons, we will be wounding on 2s. So there are 3 wounds there. And no armor save, but we do have a possible for a parry. Here we go, 3 of them parries on a 6, so there's 1 parry save, so 2 more are going to be taken off, like so. Combat resolution now, we've got 1 attack, a charge by the dwarves, we've got a banner by the dwarves, and we've got 1, 2, 3 kills. In addition, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ranks, but we get a bonus of 3. Maximum bonus of 3. The swordsmen have no bonus whatsoever. Losing by 8 now, leadership dropped down to insane courage. They do not pull it off, so they will turn and flee a total of 6 inches. Dwarves will pursue with 7 inches. They will catch them. All right, we'll begin by turning this unit around. It will flee its 6 inches off in this direction, being caught by the dwarves. The dwarves will make a slight wheel to align with that, and then they will move their 7 inches, bringing them right up to this point right here. And there's their final position right there in the courtyard. End of the combat phase. That brings us to the end of Dwarf turn 3. Empire turn 3. To start off, let's roll for our last garrison unit of spearmen. We roll F5, so they will also be coming on for the dwarves. Wow, this is very fortuitous for the dwarves. And there's how it will look now when that unit of spearmen comes into play for the dwarves. Treachery and the Imperial Guard. Charges to declare for the Empire. Let's start here with this unit of archers charging into that unit of spearmen. They will make it in no problem, so we will bring them in like so. This will allow us to have 3 of them come into combat on the flank of the archers. No more charges to declare. Let's do some compulsion moves over here for our general. Battling our general now on a 9, and he gets it with a 7, no problem. Let's turn him around and face him like this, heading him like so into the dwarves. And of course, let's mark him as freshly rallied. Remaining moves, let's just reform this unit of archers. And there's their final position reformed. Shooting phase Empire. Let's start with these 5 archers here shooting over here. And short range, we are going to be hitting on 4s. So there is 1 single and hitting on a 5. No. Next, let's have these 3 here shooting over onto these dwarves at close range. And 3 shots now hitting on a 4. There's 1 hit and wounding now on a 5, so no wounds there. These archers have reformed, so they are unable to shoot this turn. Alright, let's move on to this combat. We've got brothers fighting brothers. Let's start out with spearmen here under dwarf control. Same initiative, but they'll get us started off here. 10 attacks here now on the gunners, and we will be hitting on 4s. And let's take away our misses. So there is 4 hits, wounding on 4s. Like so. We've got 3 wounds. The gunners have a no save, so let's take 3 off the back for the gunners. Alright, coming back now, we've got the gunners, and they will be attacking here as well. We get 12 attacks because they strike simultaneously. So the 12 attacks now, we will be hitting once again on 4s and removing our misses. Okay, there's our hits, wounding also on 4s. And removing our misses as well. There's 2. We get a 6+ save now for the spearmen. So there are 2 spearmen that will be removed from the back there. Okay, now we also have 1, 2, if we slide this guy over. 1, 2, 3 archers now who will be also attacking. Same thing, archers will be hitting on 4s. And there's 1 hit, wounding on a 4. So that is no wound. Combat resolution now. We have a charge by the gunners. And the gunners did a total of 1, 2 kills. And now coming back here, we have a total of 3 kills by the spearmen. So that is going to be a wash. Tie combat. End of the combat phase. That brings us to the end of Empire turn 3. Let's slide over here now and go to our turn dice and turn us to Turn number 4. It will be dwarf turn. Charges
4.
to declare. Let's start here by declaring a charge onto this unit of archers, and they will do a stand and shoot.
5s to hit. Here we go. And we've got 1 hit. Wounding on a 5 now. There is no wound, so that will go through. Next charge, we'll have this block of warriors smashing through. Declare a charge over here on this gunners. Gunners are in combat, they must hold. Next, we will declare a charge with, let's see, move over here. This unit of spearmen, they are in their front arc, so we will declare a charge right there. And I think they will decide to And
flee.
here's our flee roll, a total of 8 inches, moving away from the center of this unit, 8 inches in this direction. Bringing them through the house, impassable terrain. Let's roll for dangerous terrain, and 2 of them will be killed. So we will have to move 3 of them here now, and 8 inches will bring them just on the other side of this house. Like so. This unit now testing to redirect on a roll of 7. And they pulled it off. Let's try to redirect over here onto this archer who is in combat. So we will move like so, and we will redirect that direction. All right, let's roll out some of these combats here. This one we will need a 3. We got it with a 7, no problem. So let's bring this unit crashing in now. What it will do is, let's begin with a slight wheel and bring it here, hitting the edge. Technically like this, and closing the door like so. And there is their final position. Realizing now that this unit in the way now makes this charge impossible. I should have made that one first, but I didn't. My mistake. We'll have to roll it out anyway. 8 inches, and that will bring us crashing in like so, turning and coming in, stopping 1 inch from our own unit. On our last charge here, we will need to show a 5. No, a 4. We cannot get a break. 2 inches And
ahead.
2 inches will bring us right here, and that will be the end of that failed charge.
Shooting phase now from these guys. If we were to shoot here, all these guys would be blocked. So let's do some remaining moves before we go on to the shooting phase and move these guys a bit and move these guys.
Starting out with this unit, a 6-inch march will bring them right here. And these guys also slight wheel and a 6-inch march, bringing them right.
As I mentioned now, we have no shooting phase. They're the only ones who can shoot, and they moved. So let's move on now to the close combat.
Combat phase, let's begin with this block of combats here. We've got Empire, but they're fighting Dwarf and they're fighting Dwarf. So let's start out here with, we'll have the Spearmen. We've got a total of 8 of them. 2, 4, 6, 8, and they will be hitting on 4s. Removing our misses. And wounding on 4s as well. So there are 2 wounds, no saves for the gunners, so let's take 2 off the back. And let's go over here now to the gunners attacking back. We've got, once again, a total of 5, 6, 7, 8 because they attack at the same time. So 2, 4, 6, 8 coming back, hitting on 4s. And we've got quite a few misses there. Wounding on 4s. And there are 2 wounds. We've got 6 plus saves. So let's do that. And we've also got, let's see, a parry save. No, actually no parry save, but that doesn't make any difference. Let's take 1 guy off the back. And now we have these 3 archers that will be attacking. Same things now, hitting on 4s. And wounding on a 4. So there's 1 more wound, 6 plus save. No with a 3, so let's take another guy here. And now for the dwarf power bust, we've got these guys attacking into the rear. Let's start with the Thane. He's got 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, and there are 2 hits. Wounding on 2s because of his great weapon. And there is 1 wound, no save possible, so let's remove that guy off of there. Now we've got 9 more guys in contact here, but we have a veteran or a champion, so we've got a total of 10 attacks. Same thing here now because of our weapon skill. We are hitting on 3s. So let's remove the misses. Pretty good, impressive. Hitting, wounding on 2s now. Wounding on 2s, so all of them wound. 2, 4, 6 more are gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That will be this entire unit. Combat resolution, these guys lose by 15, so they will lose the combat now. Leadership test on a 7, they made it, they'll stick around. Let's have this dwarf unit then, since they charged in, let's have them do an overrun. And we will roll that out, no problem. Boxcars, double 6s, so we will bring them crashing into this other unit like so. And having won this combat, this unit will have a free reform, which will bring them around like so into base contact with those archers. And that brings us to the end of dwarf turn 4. Where we're sitting now, we will end up conceding the game for the Empire. If we look around what we have left on the board for the Empire, we have 3 archers here who are fleeing, and they will be fleeing most likely off the board eventually. We've got a measly 5 archers here facing down this power bus and this unit of spearmen. That will not go well for them. Over here we have this unit of spearmen coming up. They are on the dwarf side. Full unit of longbeards, full unit of thunderers. Over here we have a full unit of 12 miners about to make this charge. And over here just a small little group of 8 archers and our general. Basically all the Empire has left is its general, and the general cannot take on this massive amount of troops. So that is where we will call the game in favor of the dwarves. Obviously the treachery with these 3 different houses, all 3 of them turning to fight with the dwarves, made a huge impact upon how the game went. For the dwarves, you can imagine if we had 30 more spearmen, it would have been a different story for the Empire. But unfortunately, the gold and the riches and the bribery of the dwarves was just too much for the Empire soldiers. So that is where we will end the game here at the end of, the middle of game turn 4. Well, there you have it, folks. A pretty exciting, somewhat quick scenario between the Empire and the dwarves. 800 points of each. But as you can tell, when we roll for these treachery rolls, each one of the units in each one of the houses came out on the side of the dwarves. So essentially you can say the dwarves got 30 extra spearmen to fight for them. That was clearly an important part that tipped the balance in favor of the dwarves. In addition, it seemed like nothing could stop that unit of 30 warriors as it just plowed through everything it came into contact with. Unfortunately for the Empire, the Emperor, the General ran away quickly, and those 5 Inner Circle Knights were taken out fairly quickly. That might have been possible potential there to stop that huge force of warriors, but in the end, not good enough. As you can tell, the Empire soldiers were obviously too easily won over by promises of gold and treasure, and they ended up turning on their own general. Well, thank you for joining us here for this legendary battle here at Grey Army Gaming, where Grey can always play.